Hey family, it's Tasha on My Bear Prepping. So you already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Let's get into it. Hopefully I can convey in this video today a sense of urgency in you, right? There is all types of things happening. We are literally on the cusp of chaos. We are on the cusp of what's considered difficult times right now to astronomical, unfiltered chaos, violence, upset people, up in arms, no food, no medicine, can't get anything that you need to get. People trying to live on whatever they have in their homes, right? Whatever they have is whatever they have. And all types of turmoil that will ensue. And there's certain things, people ask me all the time, what are the biggest things that concern you? What are you really, really scared about, right? Like what is your biggest fear in regards to what is going to happen? What is really going to happen, right? And what are the things that you're caring about right now and not caring about? And so I just kind of jotted them down today, the things that I'm concerned about, right? And why I'm concerned about them. And then you can take that and make up in your own mind your opinion about these things, okay? But my concerns are these. My concerns is number one, when we run out of food. Now, this can be defined in a lot of different ways, right? Some people could say, hey, if we totally run out of food, that's bad day. That's what they mean by that. Some people mean, even getting down to any kind of percentage, 50% or under is a bad day, right? I still think that if we have some sort of food, even a percentage, that's better than nothing. That's good. But I promise you that government rationing, big influential hands will be in our food system and in those stores and delegating what is happening, right? Who can stay open? Who can distribute food? How much can people get? That will all come when you get down to a certain amount of food. I don't know what that amount is, right? But it's panic, right? Regardless of what that magic percentage is of whatever's left, it's chaos, okay? It's people upset because people do not have, that touch where they can just get whatever they want at any time, right? It will be heavily regulated, not to mention expensive. So a lot of people will be priced out. So my concern is people starving, being priced out of food that's left, being rationed, being tracked to be rationed, to get your rationed amount, right? I can't stand that. And fear for my family, not my family that lives here, not anybody that will be with me, but anybody that's anywhere else, people that I care about. Even strangers, right? The fact that children will be starving to death, okay? And so my concern is food. My concern is the day, because it could be any day, that the panic starts. The panic buying starts and the run happens on the stores. I'm going to call it the big run, right? The big run on all the stores. And it won't just be food this time. When this happens, it's going to be everything. Because when it happens, people are going to realize the reason why it's happening, right? And at that point, it's too late. But they will run out and get everything that they can get their hands on at that point, because they'll finally see and understand this is not just food. Food is a huge piece of it, because if you don't have food, you die, right? But the concern needs to be there on everything, right? And the ability to get anything and everything, okay? So the big run is my concern when that happens, right? Is that in a couple days? Is that in a couple weeks, a couple months, right? I 100% believe it's this year, for sure, okay? I do not think we have much time. It only takes one thing. That's why I said we're on the cusp. We are right there on the edge of going over the cliff, okay? And so the urgency needs to be there that you are running out of time. I don't want to sound like a crazy tin hat wearing lady, but I'm warning you. I warned you, right? Uh, you know how many people know me, like know me from the military or know me, and later are gonna be like, "Wow, Tasha wasn't crazy. Like she talked about this stuff. She told me. The people that I've told to their face, hey bro, you need in the military, hey bro, you really need to get food and water, whatever, and literally in my face just looked at me like I was crazy. And these were like homies. Those people, they're gonna be really kicking themselves like they had somebody who told them and they didn't listen. So my concern is the run on the stores, the great run. All right, my next concern is the concern of being outpriced or flat out us running out of gas. Now, this concern is not such a personal concern because I'm like, okay, if there's no gas, we just don't go nowhere. In regards to, we just don't go to work, we don't go, whatever the case may be. It's going to be everybody that will be dealing with it. It's not going to be a just us thing. And so things will adjust, right? Whether that's home working, working from home, a lot of remote working. But there'll be things in play because businesses want to stay open. And so they will adjust, they will flex. But still, that is a luxury to be able to drive around everywhere and use that as an ability to travel and go places, right? And so my concern is when that goes away and you don't have that, right? So if you want to go anywhere, you want to travel anywhere, you're doing it old school, you're doing it on a bike, you're traveling by boat, maybe you're traveling any way that you can go. Maybe there's somewhat of gas so you guys can pool together and literally carpool and go places together, and it's a lot of people helping other people. But eventually, when the average person cannot afford gas, that is going to directly affect the economy, people's ability to get to work. Think about the businesses that are in store, and if customers can't get to them, all the business that it loses. There's a large part of the country that doesn't order stuff, right? Think about our older folks. There's a lot of people that either don't want to do technology, don't know how to do technology, don't want to do technology, and refuse and will not buy stuff online like that, right? And so you have a lot of people, if they can't get around to go to eat to a restaurant or go to these other, that's a lot of businesses that shut down because people can't get to them because nobody has gas, right? Nobody has, hey, let's get these 10 bicycles so we can all bicycle to this restaurant to have Sunday dinner. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all a big circle of how bad it's going to get, not to mention, you think you're going to be able to order when there's no gas for airplanes and trains and cars and truckers and things like that move the product all around for you to be able to touch and buy it and get it delivered to your house. How do you think it gets there, delivered to your house? Okay, it takes gas. And so my concern is the day that we don't have that and stuff, people are not going to be able to get stuff and go places. Okay. And that's close. Every day that gas is going up and up and up. And it's not my number one concern. I'm not one of these people out here like the gas. To be honest, like right now, today, I don't care. People out there paying $10 for one cup of coffee and you're screaming about your gas, right? that it costs half of that for a gallon of gas. I don't know. It's a concern. Absolutely. Because I'm talking about it, but it's more of what it's going to turn into, okay, when it gets to that level where it's affecting like everybody, right? The majority. My next thing is, and this is a pretty scary one, right? No fear, but this is pretty scary, and that's meds. No meds. That's over-the-counter meds. That's prescribed meds. That's scary. The day that people are already not being able to get orders filled, get prescriptions, full prescriptions. Some of them are getting, generic. They're not able to even get the normal stuff that they've been getting. So that has been on a decline for a while now. And then if you throw the aspect of what's going on overseas and just all the different countries that we get the majority of our meds or pieces of our meds from, that's concerning, right? If you've gone to any kind of store lately, as of late, and looked at the medicine area, right? Cold medicine and medicines like meds, Tylenols, over your counter, ibuprofen, stuff like that. There's holes, okay? And so again, it's a bad day when you're going through something and you don't have something, okay? And I'm not knocking, if you've got holistic and you're into that type of thing, then get those things. But regardless of how you feel and what you're into and how you choose to heal yourself, nothing changes though in regards to you should be stacking and stockpiling that, right? If you know herbally you like to treat something, you should be getting that bad boy in a tea and oils. You should be doing tinctures. You should be having your books that tell you exactly how to apply it, what part of the plant it takes. You should be having seeds to be able to plant it yourself. Go ahead and get some live plants that are already started, get those going. You can buy some herbs, you can buy dried herbs. You should be, you can buy supplements, right? Pill form supplements. You should be getting that in every form that you can, if that's your jam, okay? And so my concern is no meds, and that's prescription, and that's over the counter. And really those prescriptions is where it goes left when we talk about total chaos, because you have people that are on life-saving meds, right? And if folks can't get those, they just start dying off, right? And nobody will be talking about it. And that's the sad part about it is, nobody will be talking about this because there's going to be so many other things happening, right? That it just won't matter. They'll just be too much. At some point, you guys, it's going to be too much to even handle. The news already cycles stuff out so fast. So before you even know it, and what's crazy is they'll talk about some stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, I want to know about that. And then they'll come back and say like 2 words about it. And you're like, why'd you even say you were going to talk about something that we were actually interested in knowing about, right? But they don't care. They just keep it going, right? The whole agenda. It's just crazy. Next thing I have is the no return of food, right? So once that panic happens, the food not coming back, right? Not being supplied, whether that's farming issues, fertilizer issues, shutdown issues, gas and trucker issues, supply chain issues, whatever the case, the reason is and it just doesn't come back, right? There's no orders behind it to replenish. Okay. Think about this. You have whole countries that are little by little shutting down their borders, in the sense of they are not letting any of their stuff go. They are not exporting any more of their product, of their food, whatever it is that they normally would send out of their country to make money, mind you. They're like, no, food and stuff, no, we're not letting it go. They're keeping it. Okay, that should concern you when a country is concerned about their people in regards to starvation and food, and they're like, no, we're good. We don't need the money. We need our food, and they're shutting their borders down in regards to food, and they're not letting it go. That should be concerning to you, that's happening, right? It's exactly what I would do if I had a country. I'm shutting the borders. I'm not letting anything go. I'm trying to produce everything that I could possibly produce in the first place in my own country, okay? But that's a whole other conversation, okay? But countries are shutting down. And if you think for a minute other countries aren't shutting down in their own ways, they are, okay? That takes me to my other thing. My other concern is what's going on in China and North Korea right now on a couple fronts. One, I think that they are practicing. I hate to say it, but I think that what they're doing is on purpose. I think that they are using a situation, a real outbreak, right, to foster, practice, get ready for the days that they shut their borders in regards to their stuff and they do not let it go no more, when they truly shut it down, or they shut it down because they have to, because we shut it down, because they attack Taiwan. Let's say China, for example, they decide to attack. Sanctions are started, right? We're going to start these silly sanctions, right? But they've already, by doing stuff like this, oppressing their people, locking them down, getting them out of those factories, producing stuff, the ports, with small percentages of what's leaving, that hardens them, you guys, if you will. That, gets the weak out of the way, that hardens their people for hard times, less food, they're locked down, so it's not like they're free to travel and move and stuff like that, because that's not what they want them to do when the big stuff happens with Taiwan, right? They're expecting to be totally, isolated, if you will. Now they produce so much stuff, so they're fine, but this is a way for them to get their people in line for that type of life when that happens, right? They're getting them conditioned, if you will, for that, okay? I'm telling you, on the other front, I'm concerned, okay, about what is going on there in regards to the outbreak. Their protocols and the things that they have in place and the levels of extremity that they have in place for this in both those countries is alarming in regards to, you would think smallpox was blowing through there, Ebola was blowing through there. You would think something crazy. So either that's a lie about how severe it is, and again, it goes back to my first theory, or it's real, okay? And they really, really are serious about getting ahead of it. And this is what they do. This is just their thing. They're not going to take any cues from other people. It's not like we're any better at handling things. They're not going to take any cues from anybody. And this is what they do. They lock their people down. This gets their people in line. They don't like no outliers. They don't like nobody standing up. And so this continues to make them meek and stay in line and be quiet. Okay. But this is huge. This is huge. And if this is as big, and so now then with North Korea last week or the week before, I think it was last Thursday maybe, with them going into lockdown, and they keep calling this the fever. This is the fever virus, fever. And they keep saying it as if they're not talking about COVID, as if it's not COVID, right? And it's like, what is going on, right? It is COVID, right? Like, what is going on? And why are you locking all your people down, right? And can they handle it? I guess they're not even close to like being able to handle it with their infections a day and all this stuff. And I don't know. Listen, it's crazy. And so then at the very, very basic surface, my concern is this is gonna come here. If this craziness is happening, it's coming here. It's already ramping up. They're already talking about it every day again in the news a little bit. It's ramping up, right? They take it off the news for a little bit because something else happens, like the Buffalo shooting, right? But it's still there in the background. They're working it up. And so if you think for a minute, like your fears of camps, of mandates of different kinds, if you think that fight is over, if you think that's done and over with and you don't need to be concerned with it, baby, I think you're missing the mark, okay? I think you need to be concerned that this is coming through again, what it will do to your family, how severe or not severe it's going to be this round. Don't get caught, right? Head on a swivel. You got to be paying attention to this stuff so you can stay ahead of it. Obviously, if you need prep still, get the preps, get the things you need. You should be doing that anyway because of everything else. Okay. But I think, I think this is coming back. It's just about how strong is it coming back, because the severity of it will determine how crazy these fools try to get again with stuff, right? And I'm not trying to have any part of the shenanigans. However, I am still trying to keep my family safe, which is my number one priority, right? My number one priority is to keep them safe, to keep them healthy. And so we'll continue to do that and move forward. But I think that we're missing the mark on the severity of this coming back, right? And a lot of people, even me, at times I'm very nonchalant about, it's just the next flu, it's fine. You're either going to get it or you're not, and if you get it, you get it, and you just go through that. And it's unfortunate if your body cannot fight that enough. And it is not anything to laugh about that people were dying, right? That's not cool, right? At all. That has nothing to do with, beliefs of being jabbed or not. That's not cool. People, family members, it's sad. People passing away, right? So that's nothing to joke about or to say, to take away from that. Like, this isn't that big of a deal. People still died. It's still a big deal, okay? Then I would venture that the people that have family members who passed away think just that it's a big deal, right? In some cases, major parts of families just gone, right? And then the last thing, you guys, that I'm concerned with is, and this has more to do with just my belief with my military background and what I believe is happening. And my concern is future wars, the buildup of war, if you will. So wars, right? Wars take years and years and years to just start, to build up and start. And the question is, are we in war or not? And when wars do start, they take years and years to happen, right? And so my concern is, where we at in this buildup of war? My concerns are how I believe this man to think, and how I would think as anybody who is the instigator in a war. You would do things methodically. You would do things on purpose, on your timeline, right? You would, for example, do I think he's using his best of his best on Ukraine? Absolutely not. Okay. I think that if anybody, the only country that could go toe to toe is us. And so, he's not, until he's going toe to toe with us, he's not bringing out his good stuff. He's not, you guys. I would venture that he's not even using his best troops. Okay. His special troops, his elite troops, I would venture he's not using those yet. I would venture that he's not using his best gear, equipment, weapons, none of that. Okay. He's saving that maybe for NATO, but really you know who your true enemy is. When you instigate anything, you always know who are you the most fearful of, or who are you the most, not even to say he's fearful of, but who do you know would have the biggest bang for their buck? Who has the ability to come at you toe to toe, head to head, and do damage, right? Yeah, could you do damage? Absolutely. But that we're bringing the heat as well. So, I don't think that he's really started. I think that he is positioning himself. I would want to be, if it's me, positioned where I want to be positioned in my timeline of the year, in my timeline of where I want to physically have my beginning troops, right? What I believe will happen, right? And I'm setting myself up for where I think the first real battles will happen, right? And I'm setting myself up now for retaliation of what I think anybody will do to me and how we will react to that, all that good stuff. Okay. I also, in this sense, when we talk about buildup of war, that's China, right? China is going to take Taiwan one day. They've been planning that forever. They're absolutely going to do it. Is what's happening with them now Are they utilizing that to help foster their final move into that area? I think, again, militarily, you do things on your timeline when things make sense, and knowing that there will be consequences, and can you make it through those consequences? Really, that's what it's about. Okay. And then the other buildup of war that I'm concerned with is North Korea. And I'm going to tell you why. And a lot of people will be like, why do you even have them on the table of any kind of concern, right? We would wipe them with one little thing, right? Well, my concern is that they're the hotheads. My concern is that they want to be part of this big game. They want to be viewed as a threat. That's why they are always letting off weapons. That's why they're always shooting missiles, showing off, parading. That's why they're doing that, like peacocks, okay? They're constantly doing that because they want to stay relevant. Now, are they relevant because they have the ability to shoot that stuff off? Absolutely. They are relevant in the sense of, you don't just pretend that they don't have that stuff. However, they're peacocks, and they'll be wiped. They will be wiped. I mean, if you want to commit suicide like quickly, it wouldn't even take years and years. It would just be done. And so my concern is, what does the peacock get off before they're taken out, basically, right? What shot do they get off, and what damage is done with that shot before they're taken out? They're hotheads, and I don't like that. That makes me, I don't like that, like, at all, right? If we had any kind of war with them on any kind of land, I don't necessarily like that either, because just it's different landscape. I just don't like it. But I tell you what, like, people are like, do you think war is going to happen? Do you think all these things are going to happen? Absolutely. 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 What I can't tell you is timelines, because an enemy is never going to openly tell you a timeline unless he wanted to tell you the timeline, because it was part of a plan. Okay. He's going to do things when he believes that we are at our lowest alert levels. We're not paying attention. Things have died down when we're not expecting it. And it's going to be on his timeline and his physical timeline when he is set up where he wants to be, and time of year, everything. There's so many things that play into it. Okay. And countries like China and Russia, I promise you, they've been playing this chessboard and going through scenarios of what could happen, just like we do. Okay. They're war gamers, just like we are. Okay. And that's the scary part. Is war going to happen? Absolutely. I just don't know who is going to be the first player, because I don't believe that it's Russia right now. I think that there's some stuff absolutely going on. I think that there is a war within those territories. Absolutely. Right. But when we talk about World War III and that, there's a buildup. Absolutely. We're not there. We're definitely involved. I'll tell you that. Definitely. On so many levels, right? A lot of people use the word proxy, right? We're just in there. You can call whatever you want, but we're in there on all types of levels. All types of levels. Just our noses is just everywhere. We just do what we want. Okay. But these are the things that are concerning. And there's nothing to say except prepare. You're running out of time. Get your things. It's almost time for me to stop telling you, get your stuff and get to the store and get the things and get food and stockpile and preserve and grow your garden and do this and do that. It's almost too late. Okay. I worry myself sometimes, like, somebody in the house will ask for something and I don't have it. And I'm like, like, I need to get it. Like, I'm running out of time. And if I feel like there's so much to do, and there's probably 1,000 things that I don't have that I'm like, we should have had, right? But at the end of the day, I know that as soon as it goes left, my confidence, anytime I start to see things go left, my confidence, we get really, really strong around here. Like, we're almost amped, like ready for it, because we know that we're, at the end of the day, we are ready, right? We are ready, right? And those things that we might come across after it goes left that we're like, we realize we don't have and we're not able to get anymore. Guess what you do? We'll just adapt and we won't use those things. Oh well, right? If we didn't get enough AA batteries, oh well. Oh well. We'll just adapt, right? And so just keep pushing forward, keep the course, keep concentrating. Do not panic, do not fear. Every day that you do something should bolster how you feel. Okay, you're that much closer to being ready, to being prepared, right? Everything you get is whew, I got that. Okay. So keep moving forward. You've got this. Whether you've been doing this for a while or if you've just started, even if you just started, every day you do something, that's amazing, right? That could mean weeks of survival, months of survival, years possibly, depending on what you're doing. Like if you take rice right now and just go get you 10 buckets and fill those 10 buckets, that's a long time, right? You're feeding your family for a very long time. Okay. Yeah. Is it rice? And you're like, man, it's just rice. But think about if you do that and then you add upon that, that confidence will help you figure out how much a 25 bag of rice will feed you. How many meals will it feed your family? Look on the back, check the quantity that it says it will feed. How many people in your family member? Figure out how much a 25-pound bag of rice will feed you. Get enough for a year. Get enough for 6 months. Get enough for 3 months. Whatever you can afford right now today, get your rice, get that staple, knock it out. That alone will build your confidence to know, okay, we're not going to starve. That's not even counting all the other nice things I would say that are in your house, right? All the other cans of food, cans of vegetables, meat, if you've been pressure canning, that's not even counting all that. Just take the rice. Figure it out. Get it for as long as you can. That peace of mind of knowing, okay, we're not starving. Okay. And then really, with all the other stuff you have, it's going to last even longer. Okay. So, urgency. Get your rice. If you're starting right now, get your rice. Do the math. Figure out how much you need. Get your rice. Go to Walmart or go to these feed stores, these big bulk stores, Azure, the LDS store, wherever, Costco. I don't care, wherever you go to get these big bags of rice. Get this rice, get it in the buckets, do the math, get in the buckets. That right there will give you peace of mind that you guys can make it. Okay. And the more you put it back, so from that point, whatever you can afford now today, and then, every payday, get another 25 bag of rice. Every payday. Okay. If you can't afford to get any kind of bulk now, start getting your 25-pound bag of rice every payday. And you'll be surprised because how much that adds to that overall stockpile. Okay. I know that's a lot at the end, the whole rice thing, but a little challenge there for you guys. Get it done. We're on the cusp. And so being on the cusp means all it takes is a little push and we're done for. We're over. We're on the edge of the cliff. And one little push from the back and we're over. Okay. And once you're over, those people in the back now start panicking. Oh my goodness, people are falling over the cliff. What do we do? Go get everything. We got to prepare. That's what's going to happen. Okay. So I love you guys. I hope you stayed to the end. If you did, bless you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. Bye.